Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for BNC Live. I'm Naja Sherman. Our top story at this hour, a community is finding ways to heal following the racially motivated attack that killed 10 black people in Buffalo, New York. It has been more than a week since that white gunman opened fire on shoppers and workers at Tops Supermarket. Federal authorities are investigating this incident as a hate crime. Conservative political strategist Angela Stanton-King was in the area just last week. She was visiting her family and friends who are feeling the impact of that mass shooting. Here is our conversation. Angela Stanton-King, thank you so much for being with us today. I understand that you were just in Buffalo and you have a personal connection to the area. Tell us about that.
Wow, yeah, Buffalo was home for me for the first 15 years of my life. My father's side of the family lives there. In fact, that Tops grocery store is 2 streets over from where my father owns a home. My uncle is a preacher at Cold Springs Church right there, another block over. I have another family member over on Headley, 2 more over on Waverly. And it's just a community where so many people that I know and are related to live. And so I had to go and I had to show up, and I was hoping to meet Joe Biden there, but my flight was delayed and I didn't get a chance to express the importance of us as a community, regardless of political party, regardless of status or anything, that we stand together and demand that our members of Congress do the same for us that they did for the Asian community when they suffered that tragedy here in Atlanta, Georgia, not even a year ago. The people in that community don't even have a grocery store as of right now. We're looking at a nationwide shortage of baby food, but think about the elders in that community. That's a low-income community. They don't even have a grocery store as of right now, and the people in Buffalo, they need our help. They need resources, and they also need Congress to act more than just, a promise for tougher gun laws.
We'll elaborate on that in just a moment, but first I want to touch back on something you said off the top. So many people that you love were close to that mass shooting. They could have been in that grocery store. They could have lost their lives. So as you were learning about that incident, what went through your mind?
Well, the first thing, panic set in because I have so many family members in that area. I instantly thought that one of them were victims. So I immediately start calling home. And then the next thing was making sure that I showed up for that community. One of my cousins actually works for the fire department, and he heard it come in over the radio and immediately put a call out to the family to stay out of that area. So even though it wasn't one of my biological family members, it still feels like family to me because Buffalo is home. I was just in that grocery store myself 2 months ago when we were having a fish fry at my aunt's house. So this is definitely home. And this one is very personal for me, but it should be very personal for all of us. Because at the end of the day, when are we going to say enough is enough, regardless of political party? I'm sick and tired of excuses. Our elders can't go to church down in South Carolina. They can't go to the grocery store. And you're telling me that it only took Congress 3 days to act on behalf of the Asian community, yet we still have no legislation being introduced that protects Black life.
How would you like them to do more?
I'd like for them to copy exactly what they did when that tragedy happened here in the Asian community. On March 17, 2021, there were 8 Asians here in America that suffered the same fate that happened here in Atlanta, that suffered the same fate that happened to our elders up in Buffalo. And it only took Congress 72 hours to act. I'd like to see the same thing. Legislation introduced and passed that protects Black life, but not only protects Black life. A lot of Republicans are afraid of the word reparations. Well, what about economically empowering these communities? If this community was economically empowered, then maybe they would have had the proper security. Maybe they would have been properly trained. I don't know. Or maybe they have another grocery store in the area that they could visit right now for nutritious foods.
House leaders just passed that domestic terrorism bill. Now it heads to the Senate. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm absolutely not impressed at all, and I would encourage every member of the Black community to pull up that domestic terrorism bill and then also pull up the COVID-19 anti-hate crime bill for Asian Americans and compare the two. If this Congress can do something specifically for the Asian American community, then they can do something specifically for the Black American community who has suffered hate, not just in an 11-month time span. They said that the Asian community deserved this because of the hate that they endured ever since COVID. Well, Black Americans have been enduring this same hate since the beginning of time. If they can do it for the Asian community, I'd like to see the same exact legislation passed on behalf of the Black community. And I'm asking this on behalf of Republicans and Democrats in office.
Your loved ones, the people most important to you in this world who could have been in that grocery store, when you explain to them this disparity that you're referring to, how does it make them feel? What are they telling you?
We feel worthless. Not just them. How does it make me feel? I'm someone that grew up in poverty. I'm someone that suffered from all of the stereotypes and statistics that there are out there that impact Black people. How does it make all of us feel to know that it was only 72 hours after the same thing happened to the Asian community after COVID, and then this happens to us, and they want to blame it on mental health? It's a slap in the face.
How do you intend to help move things forward and to get action?
Well, what I'm currently working on is building a plan where we can learn to support ourselves, because it's obvious to me that we are not on the front line of policy when it comes to Democrat nor Republican. And our next conversation that we're getting ready to get into, the only time now I'm hearing them advocate for something on behalf of Black people is in related to abortion. Well, we need more than just abortion. We need to be economically empowered. So I'm looking at possibly another run in addition to everything that I'm doing to build up the community now while I'm not currently in office. But what I'm asking everyone to do across the lines, even my white Republican friends that claim they love me and support me so much, stand with us to receive the same equality that the Asian community received when that tragedy happened a year ago here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Angela Stanton-King, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your insight today.